Alright, so welcome back guys. So in the last video, as you might know, we just talked about the user interface, right? We didn't really look at much code, but in this video, this is where we'll start actually looking at the code. So you can see, well, yeah, you can see the plan for this class. So let me just make this a little bigger. So first we're going to discuss output and input. And yeah, we're going to create a program to say, well, hi, then their name, right? And then just give them a kind of welcome message. We're also going to have a program that will let the user input two numbers, right? And then we can add them, multiply them, divide them, yeah, whatever. Right, then we're going to look at these 6 different primitive data types. So that's going to be integers, reals, right, characters, strings, boolean, and dates. And as well as looking at these, so how to declare them, how to assign them. Yeah, obviously the different formats. We'll also look at all of the different built-in functions. So for example, rand, right, generate a random number, and yeah, etc. Alright, so let's just jump in. So I'm just going to comment this and I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, just so I can use it as a kind of reference for myself. Right, so if we look at the first one, just output. So yeah, just pretty simple. We can just get output like this, and then we just have the string that we want. So I'll just say like hello everyone. And then again, right, control enter, and we see this just executes here. Now what we want to do then, we actually want to make this a little bit more advanced. So we could say, I don't know, maybe like Fred, and let's say welcome to Pseudocode Pro. Right, however, of course, I mean, this works if they're called Fred, but for anyone that's not called Fred, well, this is going to be, the wrong name. So what we want is we actually want to make this name a variable so it can change. So in order to declare a variable, well, we literally just use the keyword declare. Right, then we say that the identifier name. So in this case, I mean, since it's storing the person's name, let's just call it name. Right, then we have the colon. So colon means kind of the type. So say name is, the type. And then this type is going to be string. So I mean, just in case, because maybe some people don't know, right? If you've sort of not, if you've not done this in class already. I mean, if we just look then at the different primitives, so integers, well, that's going to be a number. I mean, specifically, it's going to be a whole number, right? So it can be positive, right? Of course, it can be 0. It can also be negative numbers as well, right? But as long as they're whole numbers. If we look at real, well, these are just going to be decimal numbers, so something like 1.2. However, something like 4, well, 4 is also going to be a valid real number. Of course, 4 is both an integer and a real number. But yeah, I mean, so real, right? I mean, basically, they can just have a decimal. Right, if we look at characters, well, characters, they're just going to be one, let's say one symbol, right, one character. So, for example, the character A. Also, well, the character 0, let's say the character, exclamation mark. Yeah, this could be emojis, right, anything. However, no, let's say if we try like maybe AA, well, here you notice now it's not a character, because a character it should just be one character, right? But if we've got AA, right, that's going to be 2 characters. So if we want multiple characters, that's where we're going to use a string. So if we look at this, when we're declaring a character, we're just going to use these single quotes. However, if we're kind of declaring a string, if we're kind of, I'm sorry, not declaring, and if we're assigning this value to a string, or if this is like a string literal, right, then we would just use the double quotes like this. And of course, right, the string, it can just be one character like this, or it can be, basically in kind of arbitrary length. Yes, we could have, hundreds of characters. Right, boolean. And yeah, I think I accidentally pressed enter, which is why I'm getting these error messages. Right, if we go to boolean, so boolean is quite simple, right? Either it can be true or false, only 2 possible values. And then if we look at date, well, basically a date, either we can assign it as a string, right? But the string has to be in the format, well, let's say 0, 1. So right, this would be the day. Then we go the month. And yeah, then we go the year like this. So in fact, let me just do today's date. So yeah, we can, we can kind of have a date literal like this, right? Or we can use this to assign it to a date variable. But it just has to be in the format, well, you know, like D, so day, then month, and then year like this. And right, alternatively, we could also use these set dates. Well, we'll look at this. We'll look at this later, all right, when we actually assign dates. Okay, so hopefully you're familiar with these. Again, just to recap, right, so integers, they're going to be whole numbers. They can be positive or negative. Real numbers, well, they're going to be decimal numbers. Right, characters, so characters are going to be, well, just one character. So it could be alphabetic, it could be a number, it could be like an emoji, right, it could be a symbol. Strings, well, they're just going to be text. So, it could just be, again, one character, or it could be many characters. Boolean, well, just true or false, right, only two possible values. And then a date, well, of course, it just has to be in this format. So again, day, month, year. If you try, year, month, day, or any other format, it's not going to work. All right, so it has to be in this format. All right, so let's just, I'll probably just delete that, or I could comment it if people want. Right, so what we said then is thread. Well, if we look at these, thread is going to be a string like this. So that's why we said, right, name is of type string. And then what we want to do is we want to ask the user to input their name. So let's just go output. Let's say, like, please enter your name. Let's just have a space like that, although I guess here we don't really need it. Right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say input, and then we need the variable that whatever the user types in, this will be the variable where that data is stored. So here we've said, well, name is going to contain the name. So in here we're just going to write name. So what this means is, well, it's going to pop up with this output message. Okay, so whatever they type in will be stored in this name variable. So what we have to do then is we have to change this, because we want this to be the name, not thread. Now, some people think maybe we can just do this. However, if we run this, and maybe it's obvious to some people. Let's try Bill, for example. Now, you notice here, well, it still said hello name, because, right, this name is not this variable. This name is, well, it's literally just the string name. So what we actually need to do is, well, we need to escape this. So close, basically kind of close the string. Right, then in order to join strings, well, we can concatenate using this concatenation operator. I'm not sure why it's giving me these errors. I'll probably look into that. But anyway, so what this is going to do is going to take hello, and then it's going to join it with the name, right? So it's going to combine it or concatenate, and then it's going to concatenate or join, with this welcome to Pseudocode Pro. So if we just run this now, then it should work. So again, let's just try Bill, and we see, so hello Bill and welcome to the Pseudocode Pro. Now for output, there is technically another way. So we can actually just use the comma like this, and this should do the exact same. So let's maybe say Alice, for example, okay, so we get the same. Now the thing is, this comma only works for output. Like, let's say if we want to try something like this, let's just maybe close that, or just comment that. So let's say the name, and this is a little bit silly doing it like this, really. Maybe we can go something like first name, and then let's also go last name like this, and then here maybe this can just be full name. Right, okay, let's make this full name, and this one can also be full name. So if we go here, let's say, please enter your first name. Alright, and then so here we're going to input this into first name. Then we can copy this. Right, then let's just go last name, and we'll input this into last name. So what we then want to do is, well, we want to assign, right, first name and last name, so concatenate them together. and then yeah, assign them to this full name. So we can just do this like this. So we'll go first name. Right then, let's just have a space, because otherwise there'll be no spaces between the names. And yeah, I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Okay, and then yeah, so that should work. So let's just run this. So maybe let's try Amy and I don't know, Smith or something. And yeah, okay, so we can see where Amy Smith is being concatenated. And again, that works because we're using this ampersand, right? This will concatenate the strings or join them together. Now here, if we use the comma is not going to work. All right, so the comma only works for this output. And to be honest, I'm not even sure what it will say. It will probably give us some like parse error. Yeah, so we can see unexpected token and then the comma. So what this means is, well, yeah, basically invalid syntax. And if we actually click on this, right, you can see it actually goes to this position. So this means, well, line 21, character 23. And of course, if we fix this one, right, okay, now you see, well, line 21, character 29, right, this one. So, I mean, hopefully if you do have errors, hopefully the website should be able to actually give you a nice description, and, give you the position so that you're able to fix it. I mean, the position doesn't always work perfectly, but yeah, I think most of the time it's okay. Okay, so yeah, okay, so that's the first one done. So if we want to look at the next one, how we can add two numbers, well, here, let's say numbers, right, they could either be an integer like this, or they could be a real. So I think for this simple example, let's just say integers. And I'm actually just going to delete this because otherwise there's going to be too much code. Right, so we can go declare, and let's just say n1, n2, and let's say again these are going to be of type integer. So it's just the same syntax, right? We say declare, then we say the actual variable names or the identifier names, and yeah, then we have the data type like this. Now, I mean, of course, you can also do it. In fact, let's just copy this. Yeah, of course, you can declare them on separate lines like this. However, let's just do Control Z. However, of course, it is faster just to use the comma. All right, then we can then we can declare multiple variables. On the same line. However, kind of assuming they are of the same data type. So because n1 and n2 are both integers, right, we can do this. But if n1 was an integer and n2 was a string, then of course we would have to use different lines. Alright, so actually let's just do the same. So I would say, if you can do this, fine, just skip ahead. If you're sort of maybe not too sure, maybe just pause the video, have a go, see how far you can get. And then if you get stuck, of course, just rewatch the video to see the solution. Okay, so if you've had a go, then, well, let's just look how we can do it. So let's say output, again we want the message, so let's say please enter number 1. Right, then let's go input, okay, input, and this can go into n1, right, I'm just going to copy this. Right, then let's say please enter number 2, right, this is going to be input into number 2. And notice, right, it's going to be that the most recent output message will be what's displayed kind of in the input prompt. So that this will be the message that's displayed to the user, basically. Right, so I mean, we could then have a variable called answer. So yeah, I mean, some people like to have this variable called answer, and then they can do something like this. Let's say answer will assign with the kind of left arrow, and I mean maybe let's do multiplication. So yeah, just n1 multiplied by n2, right, and then we can just output. So let's say we want to actually output the sum. So the sum should be, if n1 is 3 and n2 is 4, right, it should literally output like 3 multiplied by 4 equals like 12. So again, I mean, just pause if you want to have a go at this. Okay, so the way we can do this, let's go n1. Right, I'm going to use the ampersand, although again for output you could use comma if you want. Yeah, but let's go ampersand. Then we want to have multiply like this. Right, then we want to join it with n2. Right, and then again ampersand. Right, so then we want equals. And now here is where we want to actually do the sum. Now, I would say good practice. I mean, well, if you've got an answer, you can just do it like this. So let's just see if this works. So let's try 3 and 4. And yeah, okay, so 3 times 4 equals 12. Now, I mean, here you actually don't need answer, right? Because if we only need to output it here, we could actually do this. And I mean, here this should work because basically the multiply is going to have higher precedence than the ampersand. So really, you know, it's going to do this first, right? Then it's going to like join them all together. However, I mean, it is good practice really just to use brackets. So yeah, just to use brackets to say, well, we want to do, you know, this whole calculation and then join it. Yeah, although, well, let's see if it works without. So let's try 5 and 4, and yeah, okay, we get 20. So I think, yeah, I think for that one it's okay, and I mean, hopefully that makes sense. Now, of course, you can also try, you know, make it a real number, maybe try like divide or something. Yeah, you can try some different operations. Alright, so if, yeah, let's have a look at some real numbers. So, right, let's just delete this, and let's call it maybe, I don't know, maybe like lucky number or something. Let's say this is going to be real, and for this we'll just generate a random number. Well, in fact, sorry. So, well, let's just try like pi or something first. Let's just output this, check it works. Yeah, okay, so we can see this works. Let's say we want to generate a random number, right? Because that's the first function we've got. So what we can do, we can say rand. And then if we see, well, it takes one parameter x, which is the upper bound, and this is going to be exclusive for the random number. So what this means is that when it says exclusive, let's say if we go random 5, then this can return a number sort of in the range, well, let's say 0, right, and then until kind of like, you know, 4.999 like this. So here you would yeah, actually, like, okay, I guess maybe you could get 5. Yeah, okay, I don't know. So actually this one I would have to test, to be honest. So let's just have a go. So let's try random 1. And yeah, maybe let's just output this a couple of times. Alright, so 0.6. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know, like this one, maybe you could get 1, right, or maybe it's just going to go to sort of 0.999. Yeah, I think it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so let's say if we try 10, for example, well, this will generate a number between, you know, sort of 0 and 10. So yeah, 7.7. Okay, and yeah, then we also got 0. Right, so, I mean, this is good, obviously, if you want a real number. However, maybe we want to convert this to an integer. So in order to convert it to an integer, well, either we can use this int or we can use round. Now there's actually a slight difference, so let's actually just comment this out. And maybe we'll just kind of do yeah, we'll like hard code this one. So let's say our lucky number is maybe like let's say 4.999. Right, okay, this successfully outputs. Now if we try int, if we see here, well, basically int is always going to round down. So, I mean, in many programming languages, or also in maths, right, this is called the floor function. So it's always going to round down. I mean, I suppose that's if it's positive, it will round down. I think if it's negative, it will actually round up. No, okay, sorry. Yeah, negative will also round down. But yeah, let's have a look. So this 4.99 should just go to 4. Yeah, okay. So let's also try minus 4.99. So this should go to minus 5. Yeah, okay. So it's always going to round down. Now, if we want to use round, and in fact, let's try maybe 4.7. Yeah, you know, some number like this. So here, if we look at round, well, the first one is going to be n, the number, right? Then the next parameter is going to be, well, d, so the number of digits to round to. So I guess if we go to 1, let's just see what that does. Yeah, so 1 is going to be, well, minus 4.7, and in fact, let's just make that positive. So if we're rounding it to 1 decimal place, well, we can see, right, because yeah, I guess if we have like 0.74, well, 0.74 is going to round down to like, 0.7. We could also have 0, so 0 is just going to round to 5 in this case. Yeah, and then of course, we can go like 3 decimal places. Yeah, so 4.78. So, I mean, well, I think, hopefully you should be familiar with the round function in maths. And I mean, honestly, people's maths is probably better than mine, considering it's been, 10 years since I did maths. Alright, so I think, I mean, for integers and reals, I mean, hopefully that's everything. I mean, just rand, well, so rand to generate a random number. Integer, int, right, this is always going to round down. And then round, well, this will just round to the kind of closest, yeah, like the closest value. So, I mean, how you would round in maths. And then, of course, if we have, like, say, 4.5, let's round to 0. Well, 4.5 is going to round up. Right, whereas, of course, if we have, like, 4.4999, then this should, yeah, okay, this should round down to 4. Alright, so if we look at the next one, so character. So let's say this can be, yeah, I'm trying to think of a good sort of variable that we can use. I mean, I don't know, I'm just going to say C. I guess I'm not creative. Right, so, yeah, well, let's call it like my character, because otherwise maybe C might be confusing, right, because it won't be the character C. So let's say my char, and first let's just assign this, and let's just assign big A like this, right, or uppercase A. Then we'll just output my char, so again we can see uppercase A. Now, right, a common thing you might want to do is we'll use this ASC function, so let's just have a look at what that does. Right, so ASC, this takes a character, and then it then it returns the integer. So it will actually return the ASCII code of that character. Now, I mean, yeah, for the Cambridge exam, they say it returns the ASCII code. For this website, I've actually extended it a little bit, so it will also return Unicode as well. And if people remember, well, ASCII, there's 2 types, right? So if we look at ASCII, you have standard ASCII, right? Let's say standard ASCII, which, if you remember, that has 7 bits. So yeah, with standard ASCII we can represent 128 different characters, but then if we have extended ASCII, then that's going to use 8 bits, right, so a whole byte, and then yeah, that's going to represent 256 different characters. And I mean, obviously that's fine for, sort of some languages, but lots of languages, they're going to have more than 256 characters. And of course, if you want to represent like different languages on the same computer, or yeah, if you want to represent, emojis, mathematical symbols, right, this is not going to be enough. Yeah, so that, I mean, that's why they kind of developed Unicode. But anyway, right, if we just want to see this, so, I mean, this you should actually know, right, so there's going to be sort of 3 that you definitely need to know. Right, so one is going to be the ASCII code of big A. Right, you're also going to need to know the ASCII code of small a, and then you also need to know the ASCII code of 0. Now, the thing with this is that, for example, if you know the ASCII code, let's say, of big A, well then, you're going to know the ASCII code of big B, because it's just the next one, right, +1. Then, of course, C is going to be, +2. So, yeah, I mean, let's just see this. Alright, so big A is going to be 65. Now, let's try small a. And yeah, I mean, let's see if anyone knows this. Alright, so small a is going to be 97. And the thing to note is that actually the difference between, let's write it here. So the difference between big A, which is going to be 65, and small a is going to be 97. So if you know the difference is actually 32. And so to go from an uppercase letter to a lowercase letter, well, like to convert the equivalent. So say from, I don't know, big F to small f, well, we would just plus 32. Of course, to go from the small letter back to the big letter, well, we just minus 32. And I mean, actually, the reason for that is, basically because of efficiency. Now, if you know in binary, well, 32 is one of the positional values. So let's say we just want to do 65 quickly. So yeah, let's see if I can do this in binary. Right, so we've got 0, 128, then we've got 64. Okay, so I think, yeah, this should be 65 in binary, as long as I've made no mistakes. Now, if we want to go from big A into small a, then what we do is, well, we look at the bit position 32. So I think, right, bit position 32 should be this one. So all we're doing is we're just changing this one bit position. And I mean, this is going to work for any character. So, big A to big A to small a. Well, we just changed this kind of, well, let's say bit 6. This bit 6, starting from sort of bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, right, starting from the right. We just make bit 6 a 1. And then, of course, if we want to go the other way, so from like the small letter to the big letter, well, we just change bit 6, back into a 0. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be really quick to convert that. And, with assembly or machine code, we can do that just with a simple operation. So let me have a think. Alright guys, so my computer just crashed, so I've just kind of restored the point where we're at. So yeah, what I was saying then was that if we want to go from big A, so let's say 65, right, to small a, well, we just have to change this bit here. So we can actually use these assembly or machine code operations. So if we do OR, and we have all zeros, and then this 32 bit is 1. If we think, well, 0 or 0, that's going to stay at 0. Right, 1 or 0, well, that's also going to stay. So basically, if we OR something with 0, it's going to stay the same. And then if we OR something with 1, well, it's always going to become 1. Right, so 0 or 1, well, that's going to become 1. So yeah, this is how we can convert from an uppercase. Right, yeah, so we can convert from an uppercase into a lowercase. By ORing this. Likewise, to go the other way, so, well, we can just AND with this. Because if we AND with 1, well, it's going to stay the same, right? So 0 and 1, that will stay at 0. And then, well, 1 and 1, right, that's going to stay at 1. But then if we AND 0, right, it's always going to become 0. So, yeah, we can use OR to set a bit to 1. Then we can use AND with 0 to set a bit to 0. Now, if you want to practice this, let me just minimize. Possibly you've seen this website, the assembly website. So basically this is the same as this pseudocode website, but for assembly. And that also makes trace tables. It kind of steps through it steps through each stage of the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Kind of each sub stage basically. So yeah, that might also be kind of interesting, right, if you haven't checked out that website. Anyway, so right, if we say, so big A is going to be 65, so that means, of course, say big B is going to be 66. And the thing that people get, the thing that some people get confused about is they might, let's say we say big Z, so they might think, well, there's 26 letters in the alphabet, therefore it's going to be 65 plus 26. So they would think that, big Z is 91. Of course, that's kind of a sort of common sense attitude, right? However, that's actually not, it's not going to be the correct answer. Because if we think about it, let's say A. A we can think of as being, 65 plus 0. Right, so if we think the next one, B. B, well, this is then going to be 65 plus 1. So you see, right, the first character we're actually plussing 0. The second character we're actually plussing 1. So of course, C is going to be plus 2, D is, plus 3, right, so on. So what we say then, Z is the 26th character. but because this is kind of like n minus 1, right, you know, b is the second character, but we're only plussing 1, by that same kind of sequence, by that same logic, well, z is the 26th character, right, but that means we're only going to plus 25. And so likewise that means small z, right, small z is going to be 122, right, and well, let's just check those. Okay, so yeah, we see this is going to be 90. Okay, alright, so I guess, yeah, I've still got this. I mean, the code does actually run because, I mean, well, it is valid code, but I guess it's just saying it's not actually doing anything. And I mean, here it's actually interpreting this as the the integer 100, you know, rather than the binary value. So let's just delete that. Yeah, we can see 90, alright, small z, that's going to be 122. Okay, so yeah, often we want to go the other way. So we've seen how we can go from the character, you know, to the number, right, or the character to the ASCII or Unicode. But let's say we want to go from the ASCII or Unicode value back to the character. So let's just try CHR. And to be honest, let's actually see what it tells us. So here it says it takes a parameter x, and this x will be the integer value representing, well, either the ASCII value, you know, or for this website. This website also supports Unicode. So for example, let's just try 65 like we said, and I'm just going to kind of delete this. So right, 65, this should output big A. Yeah, okay. I mean, so that, you know, of course we can try like 97, right, that's going to be small a, 48 is going to be 0, yeah, etc. You know, if you want, you can also try this with kind of emojis, right, so like Unicode characters. Now, I think 128,000, there's a lot of emojis kind of around this area. So, okay, so we see, yeah, this is just some random mouse. Let's try maybe like 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I mean, here we just get a ghost. So, I mean, I would say for a challenge, you know, if you know how to do for loops, like literally just try outputting all the characters. So maybe try looping from 0 to, I don't know, maybe like 140,000. Yeah, I'm not sure what the highest Unicode character is at the moment. Yeah, okay, I mean, so just output a loop. Does it go to 1 million? Yeah, I think maybe not. But yeah, I mean, just have a challenge, right? So just make a loop, try and output all the Unicode characters. Yeah, just to see what they have. Alright, so something else we want to do is often convert the case. So let's say my char, and let's say this can be, I mean, let's say z. So here then, if we want to convert this, let's just go L case. So again, right, L case, this is going to convert to lowercase, and let's say my char. And yeah, we can see, well, right, yeah, I mean, L case of kind of big Z is just going to go to small z. Likewise, we can change this if we go U case. Well, I mean, here this is actually not going to change because, you know, this is already uppercase. So yeah, here it obviously doesn't change. But of course, if we make it a small z, or let's make it small a, right, that's going to go to uppercase like this. Now, if we have something that kind of doesn't have the concept of cases, like let's say a number, well, you know, right, there is no case for a number. So this should just also output 5, right? It's going to stay the same. Yeah, and you know, likewise, if we have emojis, right, they're going to stay the same. I mean, yeah, other languages I'm not so sure about because, I mean, well, some languages, they do have different cases. You know, some languages, they don't really have the concept of case. So yeah, that's going to depend on, you know, different languages. Alright, so yeah, I guess for the character, that's also everything. So we can probably move on to strings. So let's just call this maybe website name. And let's say this is going to be a string. Right, let's just delete this. So website name, that's going to be Pseudocode Pro. Right, let's just output this. I mean, again, you know, outputting is quite simple, hopefully. Right, so let's look at the first one, length. So this is just going to tell us how many characters are in this string. So I mean, we'll see later kind of when we can use this. But one case that's good is if we want to loop through every character in the string. So we start on character 1, and then I think this is character 13 if I remember correctly. I mean, let's just see. Yeah, okay, so we see right in Pseudocode Pro there's 13 characters. So yeah, I mean, length is often used in a loop, right? If we want to loop through every character. I'm just like some of these, right? L case and U case. I mean, we can use these, but we can also achieve this same functionality, just with ASC and CSR, right? Again, just by plussing 32 minus 32. So yeah, it is good to know how we can do it, using this method. Alright, so if we look at the next one, left, and again, right, I'm just going to write it here just so I can see the parameters. So we see first it's going to take a string, then it's going to take x. So x will just be the number of characters we want to get. So this will start from the left and just get this many characters. So for example, let's say we want to get pseudo. So we see here, well, we're going to start on this character 1, right, and then we want to get 6 characters because, yeah, I mean, this has a length of 6. So if we just try this, and then you see, yeah, it's going to output pseudo. And in fact, let's make this a little bigger. Right, let's also try right. So let's say we want to get pro. So this will start on the right, and then we're counting how many characters we want to select, or how many characters we want to extract. So if we want pro, well, this should be 3. Yeah, so we're just starting on the right then, kind of going back 3 characters. Now the next one's going to be mid, so this will actually take kind of 3 parameters, well, yes, or 2 integer parameters. So first it's going to take the starting position. So let's say we want to get code, right? So here we're starting on character 7, and then, I mean, yeah, well, you can read it here again, right? And then we just want to get 4 characters. So again, this 7 is the starting position. And then this one, this is how many characters to get, right? So, just 1, right, 2, 3, and 4. So this should output code. And yeah, okay, so we can see this works. Now, if you're doing A-level, in the A-level guide, they call it mid. In the IGCSE, they actually call it substring. However, these two, they do the exact same thing. So if we just run that again, okay, yeah, you see it's also code. It's not going to change. Right, so just like we had, L case, U case for characters, we can also go 2 upper and 2 lower for strings. So, I mean, this is only going to take 1 parameter, just the name, or sorry, just the variable. So let's go 2 lower, right? It's going to convert this P and this P into, small p's, right, lowercase. Alright, and then likewise we can go 2 upper. Yeah, that's just going to convert to uppercase. So yeah, I think hopefully those are okay. Right, if we have, let's try num to string and string to num, so just kind of converting data types. So yeah, alright, so let's say we have, I mean, alright, let's try this one first. So this one can be, I mean, there's honestly not that many times you want to do num to string. But I mean, let's say maybe score. Right, let's say score can be, for example, like 999. Yeah, maybe they're a super good player. And let's say here we just want to output, in fact, sorry, right, this should be integer. Let's also declare a string. Let's say this can be like message, just MSG message. Right, and then the message, yeah, let's just say like well done. Yeah, you scored. And then so the thing is, right, we can actually do it like this. So this will actually work, alright, and let's just go message like this. Because what we're doing is, if we have a string, right, then we concatenate or join with, an integer, or, in fact, sorry. Alright, so yeah, if we have a string and then concatenate it with, some of these other types, like a string concatenated with integer, real, yeah, character, boolean, or I think, yeah, even date as well, right, then, it's just going to become a string. So I mean, this will actually work, and yeah, it says, well done, you scored 999 points. However, if we want to be more explicit, yeah, we can then use this num to string. So if we see here, well, and in fact let's make the font a bit smaller. Right, it says the numeric value to convert to a string, and note that this data type can be either a real or an integer. So yeah, we can have like num to string 87.5, which will then return the string 87.5. You know, and to be honest, there's not that many situations where you'd want to do this. Maybe some exam questions say, you know, you have to store this as a string, right? So then you would have to do it. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just changed this. Right, let's just, there we go. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Now it just outputs this again. Now, of course, like if for some reason we want, I don't know, maybe score string or something. Let's go score string. Because, you know, if we try something like this, right, score, and then assign this score. So yeah, here we're just, I mean, I'm not sure why you would want to do this, but, you know, let's say we've got a score string, which is going to be a string, but, you know, here this is an integer. So if we try this, yeah, you see it says can't assign 999 to score string, because, well, string was expected, but we got an integer. And then, of course, again, we see, well, line 19, character 1, right, we can click it. And then, yeah, it says here. So, you know, the way we can fix that is, well, let's use this num to string. And yeah, then, so we're just converting this score into a string. And then, yeah, here it works. Now, again, you know, there's really not many times you would want to do this. But yeah, I guess it's good to know that it exists. Right, so the more common one probably is going to be string to num, so this is going the other way. So let's say we have something like this, this membership type. Yeah, so we can try like a more complex example here. Right, so let's say, right, okay, so let's say this, basically we just want to extract the number, so this is like the ID number, and then maybe this can just be the sort of membership category. So there could be category like A, B, C of memberships, and then yeah, of course there's, you know, different ID numbers for different people. So basically we want to get this and then convert this to an integer. So let's call this maybe, yeah, I know, like member, I know, ID or something. So that's going to be this number, and I mean, let's just call this like member string. Yeah, let's delete all this. Right, so I mean, a lot of exam questions are like this. So first, let's say we want to get this, and let's also call this like member type. So the way we can get this, well, think about, you know, these left, right, and mid. So let's say we know that this is always going to be one character, because, I mean, let's say in the exam they told us, right, it can just be like A, B, or C. So if we know it's only one character, because we're starting from the left, well, we can just use this left. I mean, we could also do it using the mid here, but yeah, I think it makes sense. You know, left is probably easier. So here, let's go member type, and then this is going to be member string. And okay, sorry, let's just yeah, let's just assign this first. Right, so what we want then is we want left of member string, and then here this should just be one character, right? And then we can just test that, see if it works. Yeah, okay, so here you see we get A, right? We just get the first character of this member string. Right, so let's say the next one, then we want this member ID, so this should be this number 123. So here, let's go member ID. Alright, and then what we want is, well, here we can use mid, because what we actually want, I mean, or we could use right, to be honest. So let's say this member ID is always going to be 3, well, then we can use mid, because, you know, we can start on character 2, right, and then just get 3 characters from character 2. So that'll get, you know, oops, yeah, so just 1, 2, 3. The problem is, let's say if this member ID could be more digits, well, then we wouldn't really know how many to use here. So, well, okay, sorry, you know, we couldn't just hard code the value like 3, right? So we'd actually have to use length as well. So let's go member string. Right, the starting position is always going to be 2. And then here, this is what's going to change. So here we can say this is the length of member string. And then I think it should just be, I mean, yeah, let's have a look at this. So here we say the length is 6. So, well, we want 6 minus 1, right? Because we want to get these 5 characters. So yeah, if we just go length minus 1, right, then that should do it. Let's just go output, let's go member ID. However, of course, right, the problem is with this is that, well, this is going to be a string, alright, whereas here we said member ID is going to be an integer. So this is where we need to use this string to num. And yeah, this, as we can see here, it's going to take one parameter. And it says, well, this can be of different data types. So this can either be a char or it can be a string. Right, and then it's going to return, well, data type 2. And then data type 2 can be either a real or integer. So of course, you know, this depends on what this is going to be. I mean, now in this case, you know, in this case here, well, it's 123, right? Or I guess we're here, right? Yeah, 12,345. So I mean, that's going to be an integer. Right, let's just close this and let's see if this works. Yeah, okay. So I mean, this is like kind of a common exam question where they would give you some kind of string and they want you to extract, you know, different parts of it. So maybe they want you to extract, you know, the left part, then maybe a middle part, and then yeah, there could also be a right part as well. And you know, in this situation, we've also got to convert it back to an integer, right? Or yeah, back to a number, just using this string to num. Alright, and then so I guess for strings, I mean, there's just one more, so just is num. I mean, this one, let's just do a simple example. So let's go output, then we can just go is num, and let's say the string like 123. So this should return true because it's going to check, well, is this string, you know, a valid number basically, or you know, can we convert this string into a valid number? So yeah, here we get true. Now, I mean, I won't demonstrate if statements now because you know, it's going to take too long. But you could have this where if you want to do some sort of validation, you know, you could, and let's say this input can be, I mean, let's just say x, right? It can be some variable. So we could say, well, if is num equals true, right? Then we can actually convert it to then we can actually use this string to num. Yeah, otherwise, well, we would have an else statement, and we would say, you know, input is not a valid number, for example. Because I mean, let's try like ABC, right? So this should say false, yeah. But for example, if we try something like, let's just go here, let's go declare, let's call it x, let's say integer, and we'll say x is going to take string to num, and this can be of ABC. Now, I mean, this will give us an error probably. Yeah, okay, so what it's saying is well, s string, so that, well, this ABC is not a valid argument, right, into this string to num function. So that's where we could use, you know, if is num, right, and then sort of ABC equals true, and then we would only do this if we've confirmed that it's a valid number. Alright, so guys, I mean, not too much left. Yeah, we've probably been going like 30 minutes, 40 minutes already. So let's just do this quickly. So let's say boolean, we could say maybe like our friends or something. And let's say boolean. So here, let's say our friends is just going to be true. So, you know, maybe for example, you've had yeah, 2 people enter their name, and then, you know, you just say, well, are they friends, right? True or false. So here, let's just say, yeah, let's output our friends. Right, of course, that's going to be true. Right here, yeah, false. Now, I mean, for boolean, there's actually not any functions that we can use. However, there are going to be, well, and, or, and not. I mean, in this class, we won't focus on this because, well, you know, that'll be probably in the next, yeah, in the next lesson when we'll look at, you know, if statements, case, right? So just different selection and yeah, different operators. But yeah, I mean, just you know, make sure you understand this. So you could say something like, I don't know, maybe like, yeah, if they are friends and it's the weekend, right? Then, you know, then output that they like go to the park. Or yeah, you could have maybe like if, yeah, I don't know, like if sort of our friends is not false. So, sorry, so you say, if our friends equals false, and is the weekend, right, then you would say, stay home or something. So yeah, of course, you can just use these different logical operators to kind of go to different code paths, basically. Alright, so if we just look at the last one, so date, so let's say maybe birthday, and yeah, I'm just going to use some random day, right, not my real birthday. So the way we can assign this, there's actually two ways. So either we can just assign it like a string, so let's say maybe, I don't know, the 18th of 7, so is that July, I think, and let's say maybe like 2002, so there'd be sort of 21. Right, then let's just go output birthday, and yeah, okay, so you see, right, this kind of successfully works. So we can do it like this. However, there is also another way. So we can also use this set date. So here we pass in the day, then the month, then the year, right, all as integers. So again, I mean, let's maybe go the 17th of 7, and then 2002. And I mean, this should, yeah, okay, and now you see it's like this. I mean, technically we should be able to do 07, right? This should also be a valid integer. Yeah, okay, I mean, let's change it just so we can see it change. Yeah, okay, so I guess on the output it's just going to get kind of a, well, the 0 is going to get cut off, right? But I mean, this is also going to work. Right, so another thing we might want to do, let's actually, instead of using this, right, let's actually use this now, just so we can see the current date. Right, and then a good trick you can use is you can just right click here, let's go change all occurrences, and let's call this today. Alright, and then you notice, yeah, everywhere it said birthday, it's just change that to today. Right, this now is a function, so it's going to take, it's going to have the parentheses or the brackets. Alright, however, this doesn't take any parameters. So you can see, well, today is the 3rd of December, right, 2023. So let's say we then want to try this day function. So this will just get, well, what day is it? So I mean, here it's going to be 3. So let's say output day and today, and I'm just going to do month and year as well, because basically they're the same. Right, let's go month and then year. Right, so if we run this, then you can see, well, the day, right, it's going to be day 3, month, right, 12, and of course year is, well, 2023. So let's think, and again, you can pause the video. So let's think, how can we get, like, say 1 year into the future? Or how could we get yesterday or tomorrow, or 1 month, 1 month into the future? So I mean, to be honest, actually getting a month into the future is going to be more difficult, because it's going to wrap around. So yeah, I think don't worry about that. But let's say we just want to get 1 year into the future. So let's say maybe let's say kind of like 1 year from now. So if you think about this, so let's go 1 year from now. We could do it with a string, alright, and we're just going to concatenate these numbers into a string. Or we could just use the set date. So let's say here, well, we want the day, and that's going to be of today, right? So this will stay the same. Then we have the month of today, right? That stays the same. Right, then we go the year, and again takes today. But then this time we just want to go +1. And then if we just output this, so I mean, this should say, well, 3/12/2024. And yeah, okay. And so of course, likewise we can do this, sort of day +1, that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, day -1 is going to be yesterday. Although, again, this is more difficult because, well, let's say if we're on day 31, if we do day 31 +1, well, that should actually go to the 1st of January. Likewise, of course, if we're on the 1st, well, the 1st, if we do, day -1, well, that should go to the, I don't know, maybe like the 30th of November, or yeah, like however many days there are in November. So yeah, that would need more logic. Alright, so I think just one more, right, just this day index. So let's maybe, yeah, okay, I guess we can keep this. Let's maybe just comment out this stuff. Right, and then what we'll do then, let's say output. Right, let's go output, and we can output, in fact, hang on. Yeah, I'm just going to keep these output statements together just to make it easier to understand. Right, so let's say we want the day index of today. Right, and in this one, let's read it. So it's going to return the current day index number from this date, right? So based on the parameter, right, where Sunday equals 1, Monday is 2, Tuesday is 3, etc. So I guess here they're saying the 12th of May 2020, that was going to be 3. So right, that means this was a Tuesday. So if we think, right, today is the 3rd, right, today is a Sunday, so this should output 1. So yeah, let's just try this, and actually I'll comment this out. Yeah, okay, so you see this outputs 1 because it's a Sunday. Now let's try maybe day index of 1 year from now. I mean, yeah, this could be anything. Alright, so I guess, yeah, this is going to be a Tuesday. Now, if we just want to test this, maybe let's say tomorrow, or in fact, hang on. You know, we should actually just be able to pass in a day directly, right, or a date directly. So let's say 04/12 and 2023. So right, this will be tomorrow, which is going to be Monday. So this should say 2. Yeah, okay. All right, now I think I did have it here where we're going to use an array. So we're going to get the day name using an array. So we should say, you know, today is Sunday, like tomorrow is Monday, for example. And I think, yeah, I mean, we've been going on a long time, but I think we can probably just do this quickly. So right, let's maybe keep this. Right, so in order to do this, well, we're going to have to declare an array, right, which is going to be a new feature possibly. Right, so to do that, let's go declare, let's say maybe day names, and here we're going to say array, right, then we say the index bounds. So again, right, if you don't understand this, don't worry, because, well, there'll be another class on arrays. But yeah, if you do, well, let's just go through it quickly. Right, and then here we say the data type is going to be string. Now we can say the day names and just directly assign them like this. So we can go, you know, Sunday, yeah, Monday. However, I think Cambridge, they don't really like us doing this. So what they prefer is they would prefer that we would go, you know, day names 1, right, then assign Sunday. And then of course we can just copy this. Right, then let's say day 2, day 3. Okay, right, so that's all the days. So what we can then use, we can use this day index, because for example, if day index is 1, well, day index 1 should output Sunday. So let's just try that. So let's go output. Right, let's say today. So today is, right, and then we're going to want this. This then going to be the day names. Right, then let's go day index. Right, so the thing we want, that can be today. You know, or again, right, if we just want to keep this maybe more simple, let's go like 03/12 and 2023. Yeah, let's just kind of comment out some of this. Right, so I mean this should be all we need. So yeah, let's try this. Yeah, okay, so today is, well, right, Sunday. I mean, of course, we could write Sunday like this. Actually, I'm going to do it here because, well, in English, you know, they all end with day. Yeah, so today is Sunday. And then, of course, you know, we can try next one. So yeah, that should say. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and now, right, that should say tomorrow is Monday. Alright guys, so I mean, I'm not sure how long that video's gone on for, probably like an hour. Yeah, I guess I'll check. So I mean, hopefully like that makes things a little bit easier. You know, we've covered, well, again, the 6 different primitives, right, all of the different functions. So yeah, I mean, like, again, hopefully that makes sense, and if it doesn't, well, just leave a comment, maybe send me an email via the website. Okay, so yeah, hope to see you in the next video.